So my name is Catherine Summerall Griego, and Real Estate with Catherine at Keller Williams Realty here in Durango. And I've been blessed to serve the Durango community for the past 7 years through real estate. And that includes over 130 families served in our community. And the reason why I decided to create this conversation series was an initiative that I had felt to step up and be visible, provide information and perspectives that will be valuable to our community as we process through what COVID-19 looks like, both at the beginning and as we now have kind of transitioned into a little bit more of a mature time frame and processing of such, and hopefully here now as we look to start that rebound curve of getting back up and going more to 100% as a community. And so today I'm really excited to have a fun conversation with Lindsay Nyquist, who is the Director of Marketing at Fort Lewis College. And we just want to kind of give a general state of the address as to what FLC is experiencing, help set some expectation for maybe students and the community for next year, and then dive into what they have put together as a Stay Local campaign. And so Lindsay, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then yeah, we can just dive into some of those topics.
Sure. So hi, nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Catherine. My name is Lindsay Nyquist, and Director of Marketing Communication up at the college. I've been at the Fort Lewis for about 13 years now, which is crazy. Wow. And just really fortunate to be a part of that community of just great people and being able to serve students in the way that we do. As you said, I mean, this whole pandemic experience has been pretty crazy for everyone, and no less at the college. We, shut down or moved our classes online following spring break in late March, which was challenging for both our faculty and our students and all of our staff that were supporting it. And but really just, I think we're able to serve everyone as well as we could. We finished up classes at the end of April, and we'll be celebrating with a virtual commencement our 450 graduates on May 29th. So we're still really excited. Good. And we're just so proud of our students. They've pushed through so much, and we know this wasn't how they intended to end up their college careers, but they've just been so strong, and I think learned a lot from it. So really proud of them and excited to be able to celebrate that with them.
Love that. And so just for those listening, say the date one more time.
Sure, that's going to be Friday, May 29th at 2 p.m. Anybody is welcome to watch it. It'll be at fortlewis.edu/virtual graduation. And also we'll be streaming on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page, along with updates on Instagram and Twitter. So as close to the real thing as we can make it. We're going to have, remarks from our president, Tom Stridicus, Provost Cheryl Nixon, and student body president, Cody Stroop, as well as commencement speaker is going to be Eric Weihenmeyer, who's a blind kayaker who kayaked the Grand Canyon a couple years ago. He spoke on campus in January and just really had an impact on the students. So we're so excited we're able to get him back as our commencement speaker. And then we'll have, through our virtual magic, we'll be having professors from each department read the names for each of the students graduating in the area. So really hoping that helps add a little bit more personalization to it for our students.
Love it. Yeah, and even as I'm thinking through that, the opportunity is that maybe getting more in community involvement to engage with some of the content with the commencement. So silver linings and everything. So that's glad to share that.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of those silver linings. Like one of our, as soon as we had to close campus to public visitors, we were trying to figure out how to get our students that are planning to enroll in the fall, who generally attend. We have some admitted student events, usually near the end of March and April. And, our admission team really turned around really quickly and created a virtual preview. And we actually had more attendance there than we generally do at our in-person. And, we're in a remote location. We get students from almost all 50 states. So I think it's been one of those things, that silver lining, where you start to see maybe this is something we should be doing anyways. So it's just really, really giving us some new opportunities and some new things to check out.
Awesome. So as we forecast into preparing for this next fall and next school year, what's kind of the expectation that is being set out there?
Yeah, well, it's obviously really challenging. Our projections are changing almost daily, but we are fully committed to being on campus in the fall, to as long as we can preserve the health and safety of our students, faculty, and staff. So we're doing everything we can to make that happen, which includes a lot of different scenarios that we're looking at. And I think this is one place where we're really lucky to be a small school. If you look at those larger schools, I think trying to socially distance 40,000 students is probably almost impossible. We saw that the California state system decided to be online for the fall. They announced that earlier this week, which was pretty jarring for us. But I think as a small school, we're really hopeful that we can provide alternate accommodations, socially distanced classrooms, do whatever needs to happen to really help our students have that on-campus experience that they know and love.
Yeah. Well, and I'm an alumni of Fort Lewis, and
Welcome.
and so, but man, that is just one thing, is that we have such a beautiful campus, and it makes the experience, it's just a part of it. So we're special and blessed in that regard.
And it's just a part of our classrooms, I mean, I think our faculty have done an amazing job of adapting to that through online formats. I'm sure you've seen some of the articles both on our website and on the Herald about, faculty just getting really creative to try and maintain that. But our location is a huge part of who we are as a school and part of our brand. And so it's just, we really want people to be here on campus as much as they can. And we know how much they love Durango and how much the presence of students affects the Durango economy and community, I think can't be overestimated.
Yeah. So then that's a perfect segue into the Stay Local campaign. So do you want to give some highlights as to what the premise of the campaign is, and then kind of get into the details for those and who it may apply to, and kind of speak directly to those folks?
Sure. So this was a campaign we launched probably 5 weeks ago. And we really just want to serve our community. That's one of the pillars of our strategic plan is community and regional responsiveness. So we wanted to make sure that we were helping out those people. And we started to hear anecdotally from maybe Fort Lewis staff or other people in the community that they had a college student that came home that wasn't expecting it and now isn't sure that they want to go back to another school and maybe wants to stay closer to home and feel a little more safe that way. So we wanted to make sure that it was as easy as possible for any students, whether they're first years or transfers, to come and, spend some time at Fort Lewis, whether it's a semester or, go ahead and finishing their degree with us. So a couple things we've done was really simplified the admission process. So the students that come in through the Stay Local campaign, we're making sure that we're processing their transcript evaluations really quickly if they're a transfer student. We're just making sure that we're there in every way for them. We're also giving them a free application. So the application code Stay Local, any local student can use that for a free application just to see. We've also dedicated a couple of our great admission counselors, Jenna Gilbert, Kayla Dixon, and Alexa Trusty are sort of on guard to answer those questions and really are prepared to deal specifically with issues that students might have that are in this boat, where they maybe haven't attended before, but are back in this area and it seems like the safest option for them now.
Awesome. And I, as we were just thinking here, I'm going to go ahead and type in the link for the Student Together page. So it's fortlewis.edu/
Stay Local, all one word. So yeah, that's a website that's set up where students can fill out a form and have an admission counselor reach right out to them to help them, strategize their coursework, try to help them with a really smooth transition process if they're going to transfer in, and just answer any questions that they might have in that unique population.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for either students or parents, like family units, as they evaluate next year, or
it's the uncertainty, it's just that, and we're struggling with it as much as they are, because people want to know what's going on, and there's just no way to provide that answer. So we're doing everything we can, working closely with San Juan Basin Public Health and governmental representatives and everyone that we can to try to figure out constantly what our different options are, what our top 5 next scenarios that might come up will be. But it's got to be so challenging for students. And my heart goes out to the, first year students that are just graduating high school without getting to do all the fun stuff like commencement and prom and saying goodbye to their friends, but also, starting that college career with this kind of uncertainty, not knowing if they'll be physically on a campus. It's just really tough. And, Fort Lewis has made a lot of strides in the last 2 years to address that first year population. We created a program last fall called First Year Launch, where we had about 60 different professors and faculty. Got to be one of them, which was really fun, who taught just sort of specialty courses. That really focused more on community and getting to know campus than on the academic matter. So just quick 1 credit, half semester courses. I taught one on Instagram and photography because that's something I'm passionate about. And it was just really special to get to build those relationships with students and help them with little things. It was really good for me to see the struggles that our students have, like just how to get downtown and get to a bank to get quarters was one thing that it never occurred to me would be an issue that a student would have. And, that could be flooring to them to not be able to figure out how to do that. So we're really trying to, these classes are pretty small. They're mostly 10 to 15 students. So really providing that in-person, one-on-one, mentorship, even if it's more, not quite as much in the academic world, even though that is a hallmark of our academic programs, just providing someone that students can turn to if they have a problem. Or if they have something great they want to celebrate. It's just it was a really successful program, and we're really excited to do it again this fall. And we're just trying to figure out how to support our students through, not knowing what's coming next.
Sure. Well, and I love that you even bring something up like that, because it really goes to just continue to communicate the value proposition of Fort Lewis, and being a smaller institution in comparison to maybe some of the schools that maybe families were evaluating.
Yeah.
And, and that type of intimacy could be really important as students transition into this next year, maybe more so than it had in years past. So I love that you bring that up. It's certainly with the uncertainty.
So tired of the word uncertainty, right?
It's everyone, to your point, everyone's experiencing that. And my biggest initiative is in my world and in this platform, and just as a message to folks, is what can we do to be proactive now? What can we do to learn the story of what's happening now, and prepare ourselves so that when we have opportunities present themselves in the future, we're able to take advantage of that. And so what would be one of the biggest takeaways from people listening in as an actionable for maybe the high school senior or the transferee? What's something that they could do, you think, today to help prepare themselves for the decisions that they may be up against to make?
I think, really trying to stay in touch with their institution where they're planning to attend, and just, it's really challenging. We're overseeing the communication piece, and, trying to communicate the important stuff to students in ways that they will really respond to and see, which has been really challenging. So we're reaching out to students via email, via social media. We're actually doing a student town hall with President Shrutikus the week after next. So just what are the ways that we can get that in the word out to them about what their choices are, what they need to tell us about, what we're offering to help them that they might not know about. So I would really encourage students, check your campus email, check your institution social media. We're trying to put messages out to you, and we're really trying to be helpful to you. So just keeping your ears open, I think, is a great thing. And again, we will absolutely let people know as soon as we possibly can what those next steps are.
Awesome. And I know that that's a conversation that's probably, like you said, being developed here in real time. Do you have any anticipation of hey, by June or July, here's our target where we anticipate to have a plan in place?
Would love to. There's just a lot of factors, including the state budget. When we learn about that, we'll know a lot more. That might be more internal as opposed to what we, are offering to students. But,
sure.
it's just really hard to tell. I'm sure everyone's seen the San Juan Basin Public Health, which I think has done such a great job during this whole situation of keeping the community up to date. They're changing. I mean, they're constantly updating us with new information, and there's just no way of telling. And we still don't know, you know, if there's going to be a follow-up surge later in, you know, if our cases start to drop off, but then increase again. So, you know, all we can commit to is transparency, which is a huge component of President Schridikis's you know, MO. He's very committed to being transparent, and that we'll get those messages out as soon as we can. But unfortunately, we can't, we don't have a date assigned where we will make decisions just because everything's so fluid. But a few things that we are trying to do, we've made deposits refundable. So if a student, for both enrollment and housing up until the first day of classes. So if a student, you know, has to change their plans, we understand that flexibility is so important right now. So, you know, just doing what we can to support them.
Wonderful. And yeah, I think that how could people get in touch with you, the administration team, you know, with their counseling team, like as far as, you know, setting up an appointment to talk about options or look at their situation? What's the best way that folks, whether that's be students themselves or parents, to reach out?
Right, we've got a dedicated email address for just COVID related questions, and that's covid19-info@fortlewis.edu. Sorry, it's a little lengthy, but we've got a team of people, and that's going to move to sort of our student specialist squad next week, but a team of people that can answer just about any question you throw at them. So that's a great place to start if you don't even know where to start, you don't know which department might be able to help you.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. I put that as a resource on the link for this Facebook chat or Facebook video. Well, any like parting thoughts or, you know, important information or message to get out to the community?
Sure. One thing I just want to say is thanking our community. We've we did a great fundraiser on Giving Tuesday Now, which was about 2 weeks ago. And we've just been surrounded by an outpouring of support for our students. We created a micro grant program called the Skyhawk Emergency Grant about 2 years ago, just to help students with, you know, a financial obstacle that they couldn't overcome on their own that might affect their schooling. So it could be anything from couldn't pay rent that month to their car broken and they need to get back home. So that, as you can imagine, has sort of gone into overdrive. With Giving Tuesday Now, I believe we raised about $120,000. We've given out throughout the entire fall 19 to spring 2020 academic year. We've given more than $200,000 out to students from both that fund, which is donor generated, and from the FLC Foundation. So anyone who's interested in, you know, contributing to help students that really need it, they're all evaluated on a case-by-case basis. And, you know, gifts up to $750 are given to them, but that is, you can find out more information about that at fortlewis.edu/emergency fund. And I just really want to say, again, reiterating, you know, we're here for the students, and that's the main pillar of our strategic plan, is students at the center. And we've been here for them this whole time. So even when we sort of had to shut down campus, we actually had over 100 students living on campus throughout this entire throughout the remainder of the spring semester, because they didn't have another safe place they could go. And we'll, you know, so the dining hall was still open in a very limited fashion and in a way that would protect our staff. But, you know, we're here to support the students, and we'll make sure that we do whatever needs to happen to keep them safe and healthy.
Awesome. Well, this was fun. I think it was really insightful. I appreciate the transparency and just the vulnerability that comes with leading in a time where there's not answers, and that transcends, you know, certainly to President Tom Schridikis as well. And yeah, for those that have questions or listening in, I've copied the link on Facebook for these things that we've talked about. Certainly engage, you know, send an email if you have questions. Even if you're, you know, like I said, if your student is not, if your child is not enrolled in Fort Lewis, like use Fort Lewis as a resource, because they're here to help and serve the community. And yeah, I think that's it from my end, and appreciate you, Lindsay, for coming on. So thank you. And yeah, it's Friday, so happy Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and take care.
Great, thanks so much, Catherine. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.